Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 10 of March Madness. I'm Laura Serrant, and I'm a global inclusive leadership coach and specialist. Well, as we know, we're moving through the alphabet now, and we are at the letter I. And the letter I in our alphabet, which reflects musings, thoughts, feelings, and a little bit of what I've learned in my 40 years in leadership and working as a professional. The letter I stands for investment. That might be a little bit of a surprise to you because usually when we think about investment, it's used in a financial sense. So we think about the investments of the markets, we think about economics, we think about all the things that kind of allow us to maybe afford the lifestyle that we've worked for. And particularly at this point where globally there are challenges in terms of people's income, their pay, the cost of living, especially post the COVID-19 pandemic. But when I talk about investment in terms of business ownership, in terms of leadership, and in terms of kind of self-development, I suppose, the investment has a very similar meaning. Investments are assets or items which are acquired with the goal of them generating income or appreciating in value, so in the end growing in worth over time. These investments are not about buying something, using it up, albeit enjoying it, and then forgetting all about it. So consuming it so there's nothing left. Investors are people who actually have a systematic approach to understanding what they can get out of and how they can build the worth of their asset and how that can be used for in the future for growth or for maybe further investment. And that's the way in which I like to think about it in terms of work and in terms of leadership. But the resources that we invest, the things that we have to invest around are kind of, I suppose, bounded. So investment, when we talk about it in leadership terms, is around the distribution of resources. And the three key resources that we have access to are the resources of time, the resources of money, finance, and the resources of people, the human resource, which of course includes ourselves. So, we are our greatest asset. You are your greatest asset. So my question really is, in what do you invest for yourself? Where do you put your efforts? When resources are scarce, time, people, money, how do you choose where to put their efforts? And how do you choose to use the resources at your disposal? One of the things that it took me a really long time to learn was how to invest in myself. Educationally, I enjoyed learning. So, we talk a lot about the fact that education is an investment never wasted. But that was easy for me because I enjoyed it. And also, up until a certain age, it was compulsory. And when I think about it, the challenges that I've had about investing in myself after compulsory education, even in education itself, come because I thought, do I really need this? Is it okay to not use that resource for someone else or towards some other goal and actually selfishly spend it on myself? And I think to some extent, I and other people still feel that. You still feel that if you take time just for yourself, if you draw people to yourself to help you, and if you use your money just for yourself, that you have to justify the use of that resource, justify the investment in yourself. However, my challenge here is about thinking around, if we are our greatest asset, if we are truly investing in ourselves and invest in other people, then limiting our investment or our recognition of our asset does nobody any service. Our greatness is only limited by the investment that we make or choose not to make in ourselves, personally and professionally. When you watch investors and you watch the successful investors and how they work, they don't focus on earning the money, the outcomes, the benefits of the investment only. They invest, they take a chance, they take risks, calculated risks, that will grow more and more fruitful as further down the line. And that's how we need to think about the investment in ourselves. If we don't invest now, there will be nothing to benefit in future. I would think possibly time is one of those things, as I've said previously, which is finite, yet we continue to act as if it's infinite. So if we only have so much time, each of us has 168 hours in a week. Nobody has any more. From king to pauper, from educated to less educated. No one has any more time than anyone else. But how we choose to spend that time and whether we choose to spend any of that time on ourselves is key to reflecting how much we invest in ourselves. Investing time in ourselves is about our well-being. Investing time in our emotional safety, in times of rest, as we've spoken about previously earlier in March Madness. And doing what we love, that's investing in the joy of life for us. All that is reflection of our worth, of how much we value the asset of ourselves. And some of that costs money. Some of that is about investing money in ourselves, that resource. Learning, certainly post-compulsory education, is not free. And if we don't learn, and we never learn to do better. And if we never learn to do better, we never grow. We never take risks. We never develop. We never create something new. And that includes a new version of ourselves. Making ourselves the greatest asset that we have and realizing the value of that asset means that we need to continue to grow and put ourselves as a primary focus for that. And if we talk about people, we've spoken previously about the need for community, both to contribute to community, but also to grow and learn from community. If we don't invest in ourselves, what messages do we show to other generations, to other people in our team? Do we teach them that the only value is not to value yourself as an asset and to continue to strive and push until you break? The lion and the lioness recognize the value of themselves as an asset. They're not a victim like the lamb to the slaughter. They recognize the value of what they need in order to recognize their greatness. So if we do not invest in ourselves, in our assets, our greatest asset that we have, who will? I'll see you tomorrow.